That was it. So I guess you can consider this kind of a pretty big milestone. The engine is self-supported within the car. Self-supported, that really be the right. Anyways, the engine is inside the car without being supported by the engine hoist or any type of stand underneath. It's currently connected by 3 engine mounts. You know, well, 2 transmission mounts and 1 engine mount. So, pretty big deal. The next thing I need to do is complete the 4th engine mount, the lateral whatever, the one that normally sits up under the battery box. I gotta get kind of creative with that one. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting that 4th mount fabricated, and yeah, I don't know what else I'm gonna do, but I think for right now I'm just gonna work on that 4th mount. So. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to, my plan here with this is to, yeah, so my plan is to extend the mounting surface of where the original mount was. So we got these 2 mounting holes, make sure I can see. These 2 mounting holes here, here, and 2 more up here, and this is where the original mount would be. So the problem with that is pretty obvious. If I just build a mount that stops there, that puts, you know, that would put the mount way back here, and the mounting spot for the transmission is way over here. So I don't want to do a long arm that just kind of, I mean, I guess I could. I really could probably just do like a, yeah, that would be pretty easy. I do have the bar stock to do it. But yeah, that would be ideal, you know. Just do a long arm that carries this over here to where it needs to be. I think instead what I'm going to do is build a plate that comes out over here, so that I can just mount to that plate with the mount there. I've already cut out some templates. Get this kind of top piece figured out here, and then I just need to do. I didn't realize how curved that was. I was kind of hoping it was 2 straight pieces, but it's fairly curved. This isn't very flat, so I don't think it is anyways, is it? That's all types of weird shapes. I don't even know what I did with the transmission mount that originally went there. There's an additional bracket that's supposed to mount right there, and I don't know what the hell I did with it. It sure would make things a lot easier if I knew where it was. Alright, so here's the bracket that was originally there. I guess I could somehow repurpose this guy. Not a huge fan of that idea though. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm building kind of a inverted L bracket. So it'll mount to the 2 points where the original mount it to, and then where'd my round go? Can't keep track of anything. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is this is going to work as like an inverted L bracket. I mean, obviously it'll be made out of steel and not cardboard, but that will hold this mount right here, or thereabouts here, and then I can, where'd all my little plates go? But anyways, yeah, I can make a mounting plate for here that will be welded to this, and then 2 forks that come out to hold that. I think that'll be pretty solid. Originally I was just going to go ahead and weld 2 forks to the frame there, but then it will be kind of a pain in the ass to get this in and out. So I like it better being able to remove everything and then just lift it straight up. So yeah, you know, this is just eyeballing. The actual piece will be precision, kind of precision. Probably make that a little smaller. It doesn't need to be quite that extreme. Alright, so I got some cutting and stuff to do. I'm gonna get the stuff traced out and then do some cutting. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these cut out, and by the time I cut back, this should all be done. So, see you in a second. Alright, so here's the cut pieces. Told you it wouldn't take that long. Let's take it over to the car and see what it looks like. So, there's some trimming that needs to be done. Oh yeah, that's roughly how it's going to go. This needs to be edged up a bit. So I'll get some holes drilled, get this bolted down, and I can start trimming. Sorry about the fan noise, but it's really hot, so you just have to bear with me. Bear with it. Alright, so you've seen me drill holes before, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut to it. I know I said I wasn't going to film a whole lot of the drilling or anything, because you've already seen it, but anyways, these acorn bits are really nice for making large holes, provided the material you're trying to drill through isn't too thick. This is just about too thick, but I can flip it around and finish the hole on the other side. Alright, so that's probably pretty hard to see from there, but I don't feel like changing lenses. So yeah, I got some trimming to do. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Alright, I'm going to play around with this a little bit and then clean up the pieces and then tack them together. Alright, so I got it mostly in place. Rather than putting a spacer in there, what I did is took a torch, I heated this plate up. So yeah, rather than put a spacer in, I decided to just kind of heat this and then tighten this bolt down. And it formed the piece of metal to the shape there. And hopefully it stays. But yeah, because you know, I don't want to weld that and leave that under tension, so I'm hoping that heating it was enough to make it take its new shape. And this piece will weld in right there. And then, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that up so I can tack it, clean this guy up and sand that down so that it's flat. See, this is a horrible cut. But yeah, should be good to go here in a second. Alright, so you can see the little extension bracket, this guy here. These two ears will weld onto here. And then the bushing will sit between these two ears. Almost big enough. There'll be a plate that mounts to there. Yeah, it'll look something like that. Be something like that, then with some type of upright that connects this to, you know, that guy. Turn that down so I'll get copy striked or something. Alright, so a couple of days ago I left off with trying to figure out this side mount here. This is what I've come up with. Well, you saw most of the fabrication of it. So anyways, this is the brace. Beautiful welds. But anyways, Let me show you how that goes. Here's the plate I was working on. Like I was saying, what I originally thought to do was just make a mount like so, and then just weld it to the side there. But I want to be able to remove it, just because I don't want it. If that's constantly sticking out, it'll be a pain to pull this from the top. I mean, you'd have to maneuver it around, and that was driving me nuts. So came up with this convoluted idea so that I can utilize the mounting points here and here. And then also what I did was there was a nut here that was like an M8, and so I went ahead and drilled it out and tapped it for a M10 1.25, same size as these guys. So that just gives me a little bit of extra mounting clamping force there. And of course there will be two that goes there. I went ahead and got this plate cut out, and this will be the mounting point for there. Yeah, I didn't film all this fabrication stuff, me cutting and grinding and sanding and stuff, because it's, once you see it once, you kind of get the gist of it. And trying to film that stuff just adds a crap ton of time to something that already takes a long time. Went ahead and drilled this hole here, which is off center. I have to drill it larger. Oh no, it actually fits. So that's if I decide I want to keep the battery box up here, so I can use that mounting point there. I may keep it up front. I may move the battery box to the rear, or the battery to the rear, but I haven't decided yet. I haven't gotten that far. That's a ways away. So yeah, and this guy right here will get welded onto this plate so that I can remove this whole mount as one piece, and it will make it easier to get the engine out. Probably wondering why I'm so concerned about getting the engine out. My goal is about 500 horse. No matter how much you build an engine, squeezing 500 horse out of 1.8 liters, it's not going to be the most reliable thing. So things like pulling the engine every couple of years or every year just to check things out, check the bearings, check the rings, possibly replace bearings and things like that, become part of normal maintenance. So I'm sure I could be optimistic and assume that once I put this thing back in here, I'll never have to pull it out again, but that's just not going to happen. Also, like I said a few times before, I won't be able to pull the transmission by itself anymore, because there's literally no clearance here whatsoever. I actually need to hammer that in just a little bit more. But yeah, there's like no clearance there. So there's no place that, even if I tilt the entire assembly down, there's not enough room to slide the engine or slide the transmission off inside the bay. So if I ever blow up a clutch, which I'm sure I will, or not blow up, but burn up a clutch or something, in order to replace the clutch, I'm gonna have to pull the engine. So that's the whole reason why I'm going with the mil spec style connector, so I can just quarter twist and pull the harness off, and I'm being very conscientious about the ease of removing the entire drivetrain and putting it back in, because I don't want it to be a giant pain in the ass. So yeah, at this point, what I need to do is go ahead and tack this guy on. So yeah, I can go ahead and tack this bracket into place, and then I can come up with a upright of some kind to go from here to here. I already have this piece kind of cut, this 2-inch or this 1/2-inch thick piece here. I might use that, I might not, I haven't really decided, but yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get this tacked on, and then work on fabricating a mount that goes from here to here. And that should be the last of that, and then that mount will be complete. And I can move on to other things like everything else. I had a goal of finishing this in September. I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, so got the plate welded up. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of using the 1/2 inch, I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. Because I mean, this mount, it's really close to the front, or to the it's so damn confusing talking about front wheel drive cars sometimes, because that's the front of the engine, so technically it's the front mount, but it's the passenger side mount, and this is the back of the drivetrain, so it should be the rear mount, but it's the driver's side mount, and these are the side mounts, even though they're considered front and rear. So anyways, this mount is really close to these side mounts here, so it doesn't really, it doesn't need to be super strong. You know, it's not going to be under a whole lot of load, you know, unlike this one, it's just kind of hanging out here by itself. So I'm thinking 1/4 inch. It's probably gonna be enough. And I already had this piece that was cut. It's almost kind of perfect. I just gotta trim some off the tip there, so it fits where I want it to fit. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. So all I really have to do there is mark a hole. You know, mark where that, and then trace the bushing, and then I can cut out the use a hole saw, you know, and cut out the kind of boss mount for that section there. I'm debating whether or not I want to put a jack up under the car and kind of lift it up a little bit, take some of the tension off, so that mount will be under load when it gets put together. I don't know. So, but anyways, that's where I'm going with this. I'm going to do some cardboard first, because I don't want to screw this up. So. Oh my god, that's tight. Okay, so press fit. So this is just my little cardboard template to verify I got my measurements right. It's a little tight. That's pretty close. If it's a little snug, you know, I can trim it, so I think I'm going to go with this. Then all I have to do is just trim Then all I have to do is trim some off the bottom. But I think it's the right angle and everything, so. So I tried to spread the arms on this. Holy crap, I didn't realize just how stiff 1/4 inch steel was. It does not bend easily. In fact, what I ended up doing was just taking this bushing apart and actually shortening the bushing a little bit so that it could slide in here easily. I actually couldn't spread it back out. Trim it a little bit. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and tack that up and check back in. Alright, so I decided to make a little change to this mount, or more so a addition, and it's just adding this little gusset as a vertical kind of support. I don't know. It just looks a little wonky like that. Oh, I need to put a few more tacks in there. So I figured I could do that and tack that into place, and that'll make it a lot more sturdy, or at least make it look a lot more sturdy. There we go. That looks like a motor mount there. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Next video will be about the shifter and shift linkage. I think that's a good point to go to now, or a good step to get to, and then I'll figure out what's next. But yeah, so that looks like that works. So yeah, everything is done. Got this mount figured out for the most part. I just need to figure out if I want to. Lovely. So yeah, I think what I'll probably do is drill a hole here and tap the frame rail, because without the transmission connected, there's a little bit of flex in it. Probably won't matter, but I want it to be kind of as sturdy as possible. But if I go ahead and I end up like tapping this, all this is kind of like unnecessary. I might just cut that off and then just have those two bolts that hold it. I haven't really decided yet. I don't know. So yeah, just need to clean up the mounts, get them painted. Hopefully on the first launch. Hopefully on the first launch, all the welds don't snap. As amusing as that would be, it would really suck. So, like I said, I'm not a welder. I just have a welder and I know how to stick metal together, kind of. So, hopefully the welds are good. Hopefully everything holds together. Hopefully everything is lined up correctly. I mean, it looks lined up. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Next video, I'm going to tackle the shift linkage and mounting the shifter. That should be pretty straightforward. Figure out some plate to cover up the hole and some new studs to mount the new shifter. It already looks like there's a spot where I can bring the shift linkage through. It looks like there's like a boss or something here that I can cut out. So yeah, that's probably where I'll bring the shift linkage through. I mean, I thought about swinging it over there and bringing it through that hole. That might work. I don't know. I haven't really played around with it yet. So, but yeah. So that's it for tonight, guys. Until next time.